Hey,
And here she is.
good afternoon.
Good afternoon. How are you?
I am doing well. I'm still in lockdown here in England, but trying to keep positive and busy in our little house. Yeah, how are you doing?
Doing great, working from home as well. I guess, it's the same for most of our audience. Hopefully, this will be over soon. But at least, we get to do some live streams and get to spend some time at home doing all the chores we didn't do.
Yeah, the to-do list seems to be never ending. I don't know how we're 7 weeks in and I still have a long list. But anyway.
Yeah, yeah. I guess everyone following you can see how busy you are. So let's, share the plans for the upcoming, let's say, 15 to 20 minutes. We have Vanessa. Probably most of us know her as the girl on a bike. Just, trying to get to know you better. Listen to your very interesting, inspiring story, if I may say personally, as how I see it. For all of our viewers, if you have any questions to Vanessa and you want to ask, so just write it down and we'll try to keep up as much as we can. And at the end, we'll do like a Q&A with Vanessa. And that's it. Let's start. So maybe, tell us who the girl on a bike is, Vanessa.
Yeah, so hey everybody, thanks so much for joining. I'm Vanessa, the girl on a bike. I'm a 33-year-old girl who lives in England, and in complete honesty, I am no one special. I've not got a big celebrity father or a huge business. I'm not a huge actress or anything like that. I am just a girl who was thrown a pretty horrific curveball. And that was in March 2014 when I was cycling home from work on a pretty normal Tuesday. And prior to this day, my life was full of extreme sports, and kite surfing was the main one, but I snowboarded, I wakeboarded. Every moment in my life, it was about chasing that physical adrenaline. Anyway, this Tuesday, the world thought I had different plans for me, and a car coming the other way jumped a red traffic light, cut straight across in front of me, and I had nowhere to go. I went straight into the side of it. And in that moment, life as I knew it changed. I've had a six-year recovery, getting back to full fitness. I'm now partly bionic, so I've got a reconstructed shoulder and right hip, and it's been a journey. But strangely now, I look back on it and I almost am grateful for the fact that it happened, not because of the pain and the physical trauma, mental battles I've had to go through, but because it's taken me on a journey that has made me a so much stronger, more grateful person than I ever was. And I discovered motorbikes through that journey. So in a way, if the accident hadn't happened, maybe I wouldn't be the girl on the bike. So yeah, that's kind of a snapshot of me. It sort of started with a bit of an accident and a curveball in life, really.
So obviously you were into extreme sports. I guess, most of our viewers and I think a lot of motorcycle riders like, extreme sports and do some besides motorbikes. But what made you actually go into motorbikes? Like, usually people get injured with motorbikes and leave it. So you did the other way around.
This is true. Lots of people often think, you had a road traffic accident and your way of dealing with it is to get on a motorbike. But I think the situation there's two parts of the story. So I'm going to jump off to the side first. I actually rode a motorbike before the accident, but I didn't have a motorbike in my life for years prior to the accident. So if we rewind back to when I was 21, I was living on a remote island in the Bahamas for a year and a half. Someone had to do it. I did marketing and PR out there. It was pretty incredible. But I was on, you know, student income. I couldn't afford a car. So I thought, why don't I get a bike to get around the island? And I'd never ridden a motorbike, but I thought other people can ride bikes. Surely it can't be that hard. So I ordered this Chinese little dirt bike online, and it arrived in a box. I had to assemble it. And back then I had zero bike knowledge. So it was like, what do I do with this? Thankfully, a bottle of rum and the local bush mechanic had it all set up and on my way. And before I knew it, I was buzzing around the island on this motorbike. I came back to England and didn't have sort of the funds, the space in my life for a motorbike. So I went for years without a motorbike. And then after the accident, I was unable to cycle to work, which was my way of commuting into the middle of the city. So the traffic was horrific. I was having to get up and drive in. And just to clarify, over the sort of the years of my recovery, there was lots of times where I wasn't able to ride a motorbike. But between surgeries when I was physically able, the motorbike was perfect for me. And yeah, I randomly decided I should get a motorbike to do my commute, because that would, you know, save me having to get up really early, beat the traffic. I can, you know, go through the lanes and save some money on petrol. And the one thing that I didn't realize when I got that motorbike is that motorbikes breed. And you're never just going to get the one. You're always going to want to be like, oh, well, maybe I should get this one next. And you sell that and you get this. And before you know it, you're a little bit addicted to motorbikes, which I'm not sorry for, because I quite enjoy it. But the Harleys were the key step in my journey to motorbikes, and the Harleys were the first motorbikes that I ever used Cardos on as well. So in the recovery, my husband and I had ridden Harleys on our honeymoon in Texas, and for one of our wedding anniversaries, I really like talking. So if you get bored of me, just tell me to stop talking. So
it goes both ways, you know. If you'll stop, I won't stop. So trying to be polite.
So my husband was in Afghanistan, and he came back from that, and I organised for 2 Harleys for an afternoon just to have a late anniversary. And this was at a point in my recovery where I was able to ride a motorbike, obviously, and we went out on these 2 Harleys, and it was probably one of the best discoveries for my mental state in the whole of my 6 years since the accident. Because what that Harley gave us was the freedom and the adventure that had been taken away. Okay, it wasn't physically exerting myself like the sports was, but we were able to get on the bikes and go for a ride. I remember the first weekend that we went away on them, and we went about 6 miles because that's all I could handle. And we went to a campsite and we put our little tent up. We had bubbly, we had steak on the barbecue, and we were out of the house. And it was so special. And the Harleys basically enabled that. And over the next couple of years, we probably did about 15,000 miles on our Harleys, always with our intercoms on so that we could chat and share about it. And one of the things that's probably important is that when you've had a road traffic accident, it's quite a step getting back on the road. And even now, 6.5 years on, you know, I'll have little freakouts where it tends to be when a car comes from that direction now. But by having the intercoms, I had another pair of eyes. I had my husband right there. He was able to, you know, we could read the road together. He could talk to me if I got a little bit flustered over that car that came a little bit close. And we were out there together. It wasn't just me alone on the bike. I think that really helped for sure.
In terms of confidence and helping you out, and obviously, you know, having another pair of eyes on the road.
Yeah, it's awesome. And on a motorbike, we all know we are more vulnerable on the road than most of the other users. You know, the statistics unfortunately show that. And so when we ride, we'll always have our intercoms on. But when we ride with friends, we'll often hook up our intercoms as well, because obviously we know the Cardos can chain together. And it's
Okay.
just so much fun. Like you can laugh at that weird cow in the field together and, you know, share the experience. Like if you were on a road trip in the car, you'd be together socializing, talking about it. And then on the bikes,
Okay.
there's an element of an isolation, which I do still, you know, very much enjoy on the bikes, and we don't always talk, but you can share that experience. And that's one of the things that makes me really enjoy, you know, having them. And we
Yeah,
were
I
able to go
think,
on.
being able to share the experience as it happens, like now talking about that cow that you passed like half an hour ago, that you're not sure everyone saw, not sure, you can share the experience. Just let me take you back in time a bit. So first of all, I think you owe us, what bike you had to put up yourself in the Bahamas, because you didn't say what bike it was, and we're all motorcyclists, so we're interested.
Okay, it was a Lifan 250 enduro
The
bike. So
Chinese bike.
it's kind of like a wannabe Chinese Honda. Um, I
Yeah,
doubt it lasted very long on the salty island, but it was perfect for the year and a bit that I had it down there.
cool. So, and then you went back to the UK and started like commuting. So you
That,
you said,
that was a Suzuki
sorry?
Bandit 600, so just a little commuter
Whoa.
bike. Yeah.
From a Chinese single cylinder to a foreign line. Nice. So actually, you started talking, and we already talked about your riding with Cardo. But when did you first get a Cardo and use it?
Yeah, it was really early on with the Harleys. I think it was the Cardo Q3, if I remember correctly. And
Might
I
be.
still remember so clearly when we went from the Q3 to the Pack Talk Bold, because you went from having either
Like
music
from a
or,
elephant to a bandit.
and if you were trying to listen to Google Maps in your ears and then your husband spoke, you'd be like, stop talking, I've lost the navigation. Whereas now with the new systems, it's like being in a car. Everything is seamless, and when you talk, the music dulls slightly. Um, Absolutely awesome. I remember the first day we went out with the new ones. Great
Yeah,
technology.
I think, no offense to Q3 users, but it's like moving from the elephant to the bandit. And obviously, changing from Bluetooth intercom to DMC intercom, that's also a big deal, of helmet communication. And I see that we're in your garage, so maybe you said bikes are breeding, so maybe you can show us the family if it's around.
Yeah, the bikes are here. Um, so they're all sort of lined up here. We've got Thug, my Harley Davidson Dyna Street Bob. My husband has a 48 mountain bikes in the middle, and then a KTM up on the stand that we're currently doing a rebuild on. So yeah, we're out here a lot. I think I spend more time in the garage than in the house, but the garage is probably bigger than our downstairs. So
Yeah, nice diversity. And I guess, the ones that follow you already know Rocky Monster on your adventures and helping you getting into the off-road. So obviously, if you don't follow Vanessa, the girl on bike, or Cardo, or Rocky, give us all a follow. We're also on Facebook and YouTube, obviously. People are loving your bike collection, so,
yeah,
that's
so
good. So,
getting into dirt was interesting because it was actually me that got us into the dirt bikes, not my husband. It was I was hip surgery, so I've had 4 hip surgeries, and I was bedbound. I woke up one morning, and to this day I don't know where it came from, and I turned around to my husband and said, "Can I get a dirt bike?" And he was like, yeah, okay. And thankfully we were in a position where we were able to go out and buy a little old second hand. It was a WR 250. Yamaha, and we bought me this bike. It was 5 months until I could even sit on it, but I had it. It was there. It was a goal. It was something that, you know, when I was hurting and I didn't want to get out of bed or I didn't want to do my physio, it was that target of, I've got this bike and I want to be able to ride it. I'm not going to give up. And then from there, we realized that that bike was just a bit big and heavy for me. So we went into the KTMs, and now I'm on a Husqvarna TE250i, which is my favorite enduro bike I've ever ridden, that's for sure. Yeah.
That's great. So maybe, you know, you had quite a lot of adventures, at least in the past year that I know of. So maybe, you know, you can share some. I know you had some big trips with the Harley. You did some intense off-road training and riding, some trials, some trips in Sardinia, all over. So maybe you can tell us about all of these adventures.
Yeah, absolutely. So on the Harley side, the best one I would say we've done in recent times was a road trip to Croatia. So we rode from the UK all the way down to Croatia, ferry over to Italy and back round in a 3,500 mile loop. And there were 12 bikes, big group of us, and that was a lot of fun. We had our intercoms on for all of that as well, of course. We then use our intercoms when we do off-road riding, and I think one of the most advantageous off-road experience I've had with the intercoms was at Graham Jarvis's school in Spain. So I took my husband's intercom and mounting kit with me so that I could put it on Luke's headset out there, so that while we were doing the training, I could have like in headset feedback. And the progression I got in the 4 days riding out there was absolutely incredible, because typically when you do training, you have to get told something and then you ride away, you go and do it, have a few attempts, and they'll wave you back in and then give you feedback again and you go back out. But when you have the Cardo in your helmet, they can be constantly reminding you of like the elbow up, relax that, weight forwards, do this, do that, you know, pick the route to the left of the line. And I really got some progression out of that. Similar, had a few weeks out in Andorra on the trials bike and went to Pasquet off-road out there. And again, rode with the intercoms and some really experienced riders out there. The scenery is just incredible, riding in the mountains. I think that's one of the things I really love about motorbikes, is it takes you places that you probably wouldn't necessarily go if it wasn't for that. It's beautiful. Like,
obviously for training, you know, I have to say I was a riding instructor myself using actually G9X, I think, and then we moved to Pactox. So I know the difference in making like on the spot comments about the riding and being able to talk to riders while they ride, either in like a closed circuit or up on the open road. And actually, I hope all of our audience has followed us, but Graham Jarvis had great 2 training days with 14 other riders, because the Pactox can pair, can group up to 15 riders. And actually, we have a lot of riding instructors. Ricky Carmichael in the goat farm is doing some training with a Cardo, and we've got some motocross and enduro trainers using our units. And obviously, we're really proud of all of these guys using the units and giving us some great feedback. So obviously, to get your riding better, it's a great tool, and also, you know, we're happy that you use it as well. So how, like, did you use the intercoms on all of your trips or only on some? Like, I know you have quite a few helmets, more than 2.
thankfully, Cardo sell mounting kits, so I can have the same unit and have the mounts ready to go on the different helmets. did I do a trip without my Cardo? No way. Why would I do that? Because even if I'm riding on my own, I'd have music or, you know, maybe navigation, always have it on. The only time that I take my Cardo off is very begrudgingly, and that is when I race. And the UK race regulations, you're not allowed any kind of units on the outside of helmets, so I have to take it off for any of the ACU events. But I'm hoping one day Cardo might do some kind of extended wire that means the unit can be in a rucksack. Who likes that idea? Who's a racer and likes the idea of Cardo?
If you really want, you can our speakers are with a 3.5mm jack, so you can use any speakers and just put it in your ear and hide the unit. I'm not sure if you're allowed to do in racing, like putting in earbuds in general. Luckily, the Monster Energy Cup is not part of an FIM race, and the Supercross rider used it in the Monster Energy Cup, and also we got like really good feedback from there. And I've got motocross riders just using it, you know, as a pit board. Instead of handing out a pit board, they have a crew talking to them with units and giving them either times, lap times, or, you know, going on the track and giving them feedback to, you know, make better times. So obviously, and, you know, who knows, maybe intercoms would become legal in racing, and we can hear,
yeah,
you know.
There's got to be safety advantages of it. If you think about, you know, Formula One and sort of traditional car racing, they've been talking to their drivers for years. So I think it's just time until it's normal.
Let's hope so.
I'm excited to see the amount of people using their Cardos doing things like snowboarding. So I haven't actually been snowboarding since the accident, but I'm a snowboarder as well. And I really like the idea of being able to talk on the piste. I'd love to, you know, if anyone's listening that uses their Cardo for different stuff, let's see it in the comments, because they're pretty versatile units, aren't they?
Yeah, actually, we have a lot of people using it in the ski industry, and we love it. We have, I'm hoping I'm not mistaken with the name, Patrick Johnson is an Australian Paralympic. So he can't see very well, so he just uses the pack talk with a lead skier, and he's doing really well in the Paralympics. And I see people use it in kart racing as well. They're inviting us to here as well. Actually, I know some people use it in car drifting. You know, they've contacted us. So that's another thing. And I know a lot of people use it. I was a motor journalist, so I used it in the same way, as a tool for just making photo shoots a lot easier. I know you take a lot of photos, so I guess you use it as well. But, you know, when you have like a stationary photographer and you need to be in touch with him, so instead, like in training, instead of always stopping near the photographer and working, you have like constant feedback. I remember it, you know, from the days of the G9, when we could talk. Sometimes we would call each other on the phone because the Bluetooth intercoms don't so feel like the pack talks. But obviously that's also, I hope you use it on your photo shoots as well.
Well, it's always in my helmet, so if I'm on the bike, it's there.
Yeah. So maybe you can tell us, like, what's the best use for the intercoms for you? Like, what's the best thing that you like?
Sharing.
Or it's too much to choose?
I think it's sharing the experience, because if I take an example, I was riding with some friends in Wales, and 4 of us all put our intercoms together, and we were a little bit cautious as to whether we wanted to, because you know it's quite personal in some ways having someone inside your helmet with you. But we thought, let's just do it. We can always turn it off and just go back to the two couples if we don't like it. And we had an absolute blast because we could chat and interact. We could warn each other that, like, stop, there's a tree down, and we didn't have a 3-bike pile up. And if there's 4 of you riding for a day, you typically would, you know, you chat when you get to a gate or when you stop for lunch or whatever, and you get to the end of the day and you've spent loads of time together but no time at all because you haven't actually chatted. And by having the intercoms on, we had a right natter all day, and it was brilliant. So I think that my number one is the sharing of the experience, and I think safety is a close follow-up, because I really do think it helps safety. On the road, you've got, you know, another pair of eyes, and you can, you know, warn people of the best lines. Like when my husband and I did the Valleys Extreme enduro race, we had our intercoms on, and we were able to, you know, help each other navigate the best lines. You know, if I went one way across the rock bed and I was like, don't follow me, go to the right, better line, and we could help each other and be a team. So that, yeah, I'd say that's one, closely seconding number 2.
Yeah, actually we have, I don't know if you follow the comments, but we have some really nice comments. So Track Ready said it helps him from sleeping during a long ride. Oh. That's always a good chance. And we also, you know, on the track with the cart, getting some feedback from the mechanics. So that's right. And Bumble League, hi guys, use it for photo shoots. I guess they need to, because I know they have Turbo GSX-R 1000. So this is a bike you need a hard time to follow. So I'm sure they use it well.
It's sort of a funny one where the intercom became very helpful. So I'm on a Dyna Street Bob, so I have quite a good range as far as petrol. My husband's on the 48 Sportster, where on a really good tank he'll get about 90 miles per gallon, and we were about a mile from the petrol station. I'm just in front, he's behind me, and it's like, and immediately he's on the intercom going, I'm out of fuel. We're cruising along on a motorway, so I was able to stop immediately. It would have taken me not very long to spot it in my wing mirror, but you know, I pulled straight over. I then had to push him a mile down the French motorway to the petrol station, to the point that when we made it to the petrol station, there was like a crowd waiting, cheering us in, because they'd all overtaken us on the motorway. And I'm riding my Harley with my foot on his rear suspension and trying to use my knee to sort of cushion it. That's where clutch control is quite helpful. But that was a good adventure. Yeah,
it's like MotoGP style, you know, where some riders end their fuel in their last lap and get a push.
Yeah.
So we've got some questions. So maybe before we finish, I'll try to answer some of the questions regarding Cardo. And then, guys, everyone listening, if you have some questions to Vanessa, this is the time before we finish.
Easy questions.
Easy questions for me. Go hard on her. Just let me say hello to everyone. I recognize some of our audience, Idan Grunberg and Claudio B, KV Bumberlig. Hey, everyone. So first of all, if you have questions for Vanessa, now is the time. Vanessa, you have some love coming from India. Hey, Bella. So first of all, guys, I'm not a technical guy in all that concerns with our unit. So any technical question or inquiry, you can always go to our support page. You just click on your unit. At the bottom of the page, you can contact your local distributor. if you bought our unit online, you have international warranty. You can just choose the US and get to our customer support, and you get all the help you can need. Or just message us on Facebook, on Instagram. We're always happy to help. Regarding Senna's new mesh, you know, it's a new thing. I don't have a lot to say about it. Hi, Kabadez. But I can tell you that, first of all, we were the first one to use mesh communication for helmet communicators. So it's a technology we're always and constantly improving. And we get constant update for our pack talks and just improving our mesh communication. We got some inquiries regarding distributors, so we're always working, you know, of enlarging our distributor network. You can always purchase online from our website, but India, I know I get a lot of love from India on Instagram, people asking me how to buy units and where to get. I know there are some great writers there, great social media accounts, doing great writing, easy to spot with a front number plate, so you're easy recognizable. We don't have at the moment a distributor in India, but hopefully we'll get one soon. I saw a question here about Argentina, so we have a distributor there. Hey, Coco Riding. We also got a question about the best for off-road. So let me just say all of our units are, we like to say, ride-proof. So, you know, it's waterproof, dust-proof. You know, you can use any of our units for off-road. Obviously, we recommend the pack talk because of the DMC communication. It's self-healing. While riding off-road, especially like on a forest and stuff. Yeah, yes, Vanessa, I see you're picking it.
I can vouch that they are waterproof because I have unfortunately fallen in rivers and deep puddles before, and my unit carried on working. So they're also Vanessa proof.
Yeah, totally. They're waterproof, and the DMC, you know, is the best way to go when going off-road, self-healing. And, you know, I can tell you I was present in the Jarvis training days with 15 riders, including Graham. And maybe this is time to thank Graham Jarvis. We had a great time with him. And I could actually, you know, hear riders talk, because when you use DMC, the larger the group, so the larger the coverage. I could actually, you know, hear people trying to go up a hill where I was at the top, and it was a lot of fun. Any other questions?
I saw someone asking me where my next trip is going to be. That is a really difficult question. So for anyone who isn't necessarily aware of the COVID-19 state in the UK, we are in full lockdown. So I haven't left my little 2-bedroom house for, I think we might be on about 49 days now. I've left three times to go to the supermarket, and I've left for 2 medical appointments. And other than that, we're in lockdown. Riding isn't allowed. And I don't know what the lift of the lockdown is going to look like. So I don't know if my first trip is going to be 2 miles from my house, or whether I'm going to be able to go to Wales, or the dream would be going to North Spain or Andorra with the trials bike. I'm going to plan what my next trip is when I know what the restrictions are going to be, because, you know, COVID-19 is, you know, having some pretty sad effects around the world at the moment. And if anyone's being impacted by COVID, my thoughts are really with you. It's difficult times.
Yeah, we've got some we've got Bella from Italy, obviously, you know, handling a tough lockdown. I guess that's most of our audience. So, you know,
Yeah.
from all the Cardo team. We hope this will be over soon and we'll all get back to riding.
Yeah.
People are asking you to come to India, Vanessa, so maybe you should consider a trip to India.
Maybe I could go to India with a whole load of Cardo units.
Become a distributor in India, Vanessa. I see we've got some people from Indonesia as well. Also, a lot of love I get on social media from Indonesia. So thank you guys.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Best for off-road. I saw someone asking about using a unit with a Shoei for 10 years, so I'm not sure what unit you used. I guess maybe the Show 1. This is a cooperation we had back in the days with Shoei. The top of the range is obviously the DMC communication on our Pack Talk Bold and Pack Talk Slim, and then you also get we'll get demonstration. Nice. As you can see, you can mount it also on an off-road helmet, no problem. Usually with a sticker mount.
Trials helmet.
I guess this is a trial helmet.
So I put a helmet on. I haven't put a helmet on since I've been in lockdown. How weird is this?
Nice.
First helmet since lockdown.
Listen, trial riders have spotters, What a way to talk to a spotter than with a communicator.
Oh, someone's asking if you get them in different colours. I've seen them in Ducati red, haven't I?
Yeah, so we have a collaboration with Ducati for all of you Ducatistas. It's actually a Ducati product. You can find it on Ducati. It's called Communication V 2.0. And it has a red color. It has a Ducati box with some Ducati images. So if you love your Ducati and you want something to go with it, Obviously, Kawazed's wants a green one because he's an avid Kawasaki rider. Maybe you can talk to Kawasaki, and Idan wants a Suzuki blue.
Oh, we want all the colors now. We'll be started.
Of course. The off-road Suzuki guys would want a yellow one. So obviously, colors is something. And actually, I don't know if you followed, but we had a contest on Facebook. I think it ended last week, asking people to paint their Pack Talk. And we had some winners. We had a Union Jack Pack Talk. I hope you saw it, Vanessa, especially for you. Saludos, Zaku. I see we have some people from Spain. Any more questions before we are going to
haven't seen any.
Finish? Let me just go over it one last time. Where is the best riding spots?
Ooh, for me, off-road Sardinia. So little island in Italy. That is by far the best hard enduro riding I have done.
Yeah, we saw some nice pictures from there. I see Kawazed's also offering you to come to Germany. So after the lockdown, you have many invitations for India, to Germany.
I'm coming. Let's do this, guys. Let's ride.
Great. So
awesome speaking with you. Thanks for having me on.
Totally. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Here's KB Bomberlig inviting you to Sweden and to try his turbo bike, which he just finished to restore. That should
amazing.
Probably be a nice, thing to do. Bella is offering you to go to Deus Swank Rally.
And then Washington State. Oh no, that wasn't an invite. That was a thank you.
No. Bella is from Italy, and she's offering you a nice rally in Sardinia. So you should try. So thank you, everyone, for watching. Thank you, Vanessa. It was Pleasure having you around. For all of our audience, feel free to reach out. You know, you get many invites. Maybe we should stay. Now you have an invite for Dubai. Maybe do some dunes riding.
Oh, dunes would be amazing. Oh,
Yeah.
I would like.
I know there's some British rally riders living in the Emirates training. So,
Wow. So someone just asked what age I started riding motorcycles. The first bike I got in the Bahamas was just for like 1 year when I was 21, and then I didn't start riding again until I was 29. And I've only been doing off-road riding for about 3.5 years with 3 hip surgeries in between.
And some racing. You know, short time, but you already went racing and hard enduro racing, you know, not just like trail riding. So kudos for that. Great. And Man and his Tiger, hi from India. Thank you very much, Vanessa. Thank you for everyone watching. Hope to see you soon again. Enjoy.
Thanks for having me.
Bye.